Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to GameKheyl. My name is Naveed, aka Barely Average Gaming, and today we got in ourselves the big fish of the UFC community. We have ourselves Pryoxis. Sir, how are we doing today?
Hey man, I'm doing well. How about you, my boy?
I'm doing excellent, and tell you what, as far as everyone that I've spoken to when it comes to the UFC community, there has been a couple of names that have popped up, and your name was certainly up there. And a lot of people have been requesting and asking as to when that will happen. And you know what, guys, it's finally come to fruition. And again, for everyone watching, most of you or subscribers, again, I really appreciate the support that we've gotten so far from the community. Everyone has been really nice and really kind to us. We've upgraded our setup thanks to your support again, and everything that you're going to contribute to our whatever revenue that this video makes. All of this is going to help us build this even further. And speaking of building things up, sir, last year has been phenomenal for you. You've developed one of the more entertaining streams when it comes to this community, especially in a year and with a game, which necessarily has seen a little bit of a downward dip when it comes to viewership, but you've kind of hacked the formula, so to say. So before we get into all of that and your success and your growth, we'll have to go back to the origins. Obviously, the whole entire journey has to start from a certain point. There has to be a starting line. How did this begin for you, and how is it going for you now?
Well, actually, it started on Twitch. The whole journey with streaming, it started on Twitch. And then about, I believe, was it 2019? I believe I made the switch to YouTube. And honestly, it was probably one of the best things to happen because the viewership on Twitch, as far as really any mixed martial arts game, whether that's UFC or any boxing game, is fairly low. Even if you look on YouTube, like let's look at YouTube, YouTube's following, and then they're following on Twitch. You can see that on YouTube, they're up here. On Twitch, they're down here. So it's just mixed martial arts, period. It's just easier to grow on as far as the channel on YouTube. And then I started grinding from there. I basically started off with UFC 3. If you go back, you look at my videos, basically I was making tips and tricks. It was a whole bunch of tips and tricks. It was mostly educational. That was my wave. Not many people were making educational videos at the time. And that was what I was doing. I didn't have much personality in videos, nothing like that. I had personality in streams. But even back then, if you know me from way back then, I used to be quiet. Because I had my family literally next door. Like I was in the living room, they was in the bedroom sleep. So I had to be in like talking like that. So from there to now, I can talk however I want to. But it's like, man, it's been a journey, bro. It's honestly been a crazy journey. And it's like growth, like especially when you invest so much time into it and you see where I was then to where I am now. It's like, bruh, it's honestly amazing. And I can't complain. And then the thing is, we're continuously growing, even in a game like UFC 4 that has had its downfall as far as viewership. My channel, Martial Mind channel, basically the people that are consistent with this game still are seeing viewerships. Even Crooks, Suave Jamie, Zayaf, he doesn't upload as consistent, but Zayaf still gets viewership. But for the most part, I'm gonna tell you right now, looking outside in, Crooks is probably next up to go crazy as far as viewership and just overall his channel, because Crooks is really grinding. So that's somebody you want to be looking out for. But yeah, man, I came from nothing, came from the bottom, bro, with this streaming stuff. And honestly, I can't complain, man. I really can't. From basically doing this as a hobby to doing this as a hobby and making a living out of it. You know what I mean? So I can't complain. I can't hear you.
Never mind that. I wasn't aware of that. But yeah, I completely agree, because what you just mentioned here is the fact that a lot of people tend to have those long-term goals, but at the end of the day, the only thing that they're fixated on is the success. And whenever you have to go through a certain grind, a lot of demotivation comes with it. So for every name that you've mentioned, fortunately for me, I've been around this game since UFC 2. So a lot of these names were very familiar to me. A lot of things that I've learned from your stream, also Martial Minds and all the other names that you've mentioned. So it's really good to see the recognition that is being presented to all of you for the hard work that you've done. So similar to your journey as a streamer, I'm pretty sure it must have been a journey when it comes to combat esports as well. I mean, I've seen your name since, I believe, UFC 2 and since UFC 3 and 4. All of that should have, all of that has materialized into something. But I'm pretty sure your interest when it comes to mixed martial arts, must have lied beyond video games as well. So how did your interest manifest right from the beginning? If you would like to explain a bit on that.
Yeah, I got you. I don't know how it happened, but for some reason, I watched the fight. It was Cody Garbrandt. This is where I started. You can call me a casual, but I'm newer to the MMA scene. Cody Garbrandt versus Dominic Cruz was the first UFC fight basically the fight that pulled me into the sport. And then I started playing UFC 2, and I don't know how. I really don't know how, because I come from a shooter's background. I play Gears of War, play Halo, play Call of Duty. I was basically first person shooter type of person, and third person, since Gears of War is third person. But I don't know. UFC 2 was fun, and then all I did was use Bruce Lee. And in that game, I was trash. I was terrible in UFC 2, and but it was fun. UFC 2 was very fun to play. And then as I continued to, I started streaming, I started meeting people like Anza or KeneticNRG that, you know what I'm saying, that was basically the top dogs at the moment in the game. And from there, I kind of got more competitive with the game. As far as going into UFC 3, I got more competitive, especially right from the jump. Right from the jump, I was playing competitively. And, you know what I'm saying, I had the mindset of a competitive player, and just started grinding, thinking competitive, and actually played competitive, became a champion and all of that. And then we go with UFC 4. Now, the current, I'm not going to sit here and bash the game on your video, because that's not what this is for. But basically, I had a downward spike. You know, it ain't my time with this video game. Possibly UFC 5, I can bounce back, but I've been getting sparked out here with UFC 4, man, as far as competitively. And I lost the drive because just the state of the game isn't really of my favoring. So it's like I lost the drive to even play competitively anymore. And I looked at it, everything as far as YouTube, to just be more so based around entertainment, like entertainment over the competitive stuff. Obviously, I still want to be competitive, but that wanting to be champion again, it's gone. I'm like a Donald Cerrone out here, man. I just want fun fights. That's it, bro. That's it, man. That's why I'm here now. But yeah, hopefully with UFC 5, I can bring back that competitive edge, because I ain't lost it.
Well, speaking of the UFC, the game itself and the community, I mean, we're going to come to what needs to be fixed. And again, there are a lot of irredeemable factors in this game that I think we can agree that are beyond repair. But at the same time, there is some hope. At least we can hope, because UFC has a very long, in fact, 10-year contract with EA. So it can only go one way, whichever it chooses to. But when you talk about the community, or when we talk about the content creators of this community, so I just want to get a little bit of insight or some sort of an analysis from you as to what you think where the community stands. Because as we can see that the numbers in viewership, at least when it comes to Twitch, have dropped tenfold, and there are not a lot of content creators who are pulling in the numbers that they used to, and some of them perhaps even moved on to other platforms like yourself. So why is it that some of them have been able to succeed and the rest of them haven't?
It's one word, honestly. It's consistency. It's one word, consistency. You got to think of this stuff like a TV show, right? And I say this a lot. You got to think of your streams, your uploads, your videos, everything as like a TV show. You know, your TV show comes on at this time regularly, and we're going to expect it. Or if at least that day, it's going to come on sometime during that day, right? And if you go a day, okay, you go 2 days, then you go 3 days, and you go like a week without no one seeing anything. For like, okay, maybe this guy just fell off the earth. And then at that point, some people may unsubscribe. Some people may just completely forget about you. So it's really consistency. And honestly, another thing is entertainment. I know a lot of players that are high-level players, like want to be like, wonder why am I not getting viewership? It's not just all about being good at the game. It's really not. It's about being entertaining. You can be an average player and be very entertaining, and you can pull viewership. Like there's somebody on Twitch, his name is Uni. He has a green screen. He does some real entertaining stuff. Not the greatest player, but he'll keep you in his stream due to him being entertaining. And that's one aspect that I had to go into. And I think a lot of other players need to go into as far as this community, because personality sells, man. Personality really sells, especially if it's an entertaining one. So if I had to give you guys a tip, honestly, I always say to myself, man, entertainment over the competitive, but you can still be competitive. You know what I mean? People watch YouTube videos. Why? Well, competitively, yeah, they're going to watch a competitive match. But if you can keep them entertained and be competitive, that's even better. And then if you can add in the third head of being educational, where they're actually learning from you, that's where you tap into a new level of YouTube. And honestly, and also with UFC Forum and just the viewership, it's going to drop. Like, we've all seen viewership drop, but the thing is, I haven't seen a big drop. I've actually been rising, and not to just like flatter myself on that. I actually been rising because I've been consistent. I'm still uploading daily. If I'm not uploading daily, I'm uploading at least 25 videos a month. I'm streaming at least 25 times a month. You know what I mean? So it's really about being consistent. And I look at people like Marshall Mind. If Marshall Mind he's about to hit 300,000. If he can do this, and what's keeping Marshall Mind afloat is him being consistent. Why can't I? Or why can't someone else? You know what I mean? So it's really, consistency is probably the most important part of this journey, this grind, as far as streaming on Twitch or streaming on YouTube.
Again, I think for everyone who aspires to be a streamer, be it in the UFC community or anyone else, and also with all the streamers that we have contacted previously and have had the privilege of having them on GameKheyl, this is one thing that has actually come across very unanimous, and that is the consistency of the content, like you've mentioned. So if you want to get good at something, repetition helps. And the more you do it, the better and more fluency you end up receiving when it comes to generation and creation of content. So some really great words there. Speaking of greatness, there have to be a few individuals that you'd like to give a few shout outs to. Again, people who inspired you to pursue what you've done, and also people who, you know, may have given you inspiration to perhaps pursue this as a career now. And by the way, speaking of which, again, congratulations for pursuing this full time. This is something that a lot of people aspire to, and you actually ended up doing this. So,
oh yeah, for sure. I mean, really, it was the top dogs within that community. Like, MMA Game was uploading way more than he is now. Ricky J Sports was like where I'm at, But when I first started, Ricky J Sports was like where I'm at with the subscriber count. You know what I mean, just grinding, but. Ricky J Sports, obviously, Marshall Mind's the top dog within the UFC community. And then it's really just those guys inspire me, and they give me like the vision. Okay, if they can do it, I can do it. That's how I look at a lot of stuff. But it's really more so based around like my chat, like people interacting with people, and you know what I'm saying, just having a good time. And that's what drove me. Like, especially at that time, I was streaming to get away, like from the outside world type thing, and then just interacting with people on a positive level. And obviously, sometimes someone toxic can come into your chat, we can have a toxic moment, but for the most part, it was on a positive level. And that's what, that kept me going. That kept, okay, I'm coming here talking to people that are complete strangers, but they'll support me more. And I'm already talking about money. They'll support me. They'll be here for me in the streams more than people that in real life that know me personally, have my phone number. They support me, more than them. And that kind of thing just kept me going. And then also, obviously, when you see progression within whatever you're doing, no matter it's YouTube, anything that you do in life, when you see progression, that motivates you as well. So that basically was the gist of my motivation.
Yeah, I think the names that you've mentioned, they are an institute when it comes to the game itself, how they go about creating content and the consistency, like you mentioned. So really, how do I even put this? Like the fact that we have content creators in the community of that level and a lot of great role models, it's very easy. In fact, it's not even a secret as to what can get you that kind of success. Or in fact, just the fact that you can be a little more relatable, your content is consistent. And on top of that, there is some quality to what you do. I think that would actually make the perfect formula for any streamer out there if you want to put on quality content week in, week out, and actually get the numbers that you deserve. But I think inherently, and another thing that I would want you to talk about is the fact that a lot of people equate monetization or the kind of revenue that you make as a measurement of success. So for you, what would you declare as a measure of success for yourself?
I thoroughly dislike people that, like, I ain't gonna say check my pockets, but people that are like driven by money as far as streaming. I really dislike because I get paid. Don't get me wrong. I get paid to do this. But when I first came into this, I didn't do this to get paid. I didn't do this to make a living. You know what I'm saying? This is a hobby, and it's still that way. Even more so, I'm making a living out of it. This is still a hobby. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I have fun doing this. But again, I just so happen to make some money from it. And it's like, I don't know, bro. Like, I really don't know. It's it tilts me. It really tilts me when people like the thing you don't want to do, bro, is try to do this YouTube thing for money because it doesn't pay as much as people think it is, especially when you first start out. People are driven to get 4,000 watch hours, 1,000 subscribers so they can get monetized. But if your videos are only doing 200 views or 300, 400, 500, even 1,000, like think about it. For every 1,000 views, you're going to sit around and gain about from an average, like let's say this range from $2 every 1,000 views to $6, right? Now, obviously it can fluctuate. It can go as high as $15 every 1,000. But like, think about that. If you're only getting 200 views, you're only getting what? $1. So being money driven is what you never want to do. And that's really in most things in life. When you become money driven, you get lost within the money. Like people that work jobs, you go to a job and what drives you to keep working there, even though it's miserable, is money. And at some point it gets old. And also when it comes to content creating, people that don't make money or they don't see progression, that usually makes them fall off or feel like they're not making any progression. And that really kills somebody's spirit if you're money driven. So do not be money driven. Please don't. Please don't.
Yeah, I really hope everyone watching this, at least if you've not seen anything else, I hope you get to listen to this because again, my day job is currently working as a corporate trainer. And one of the things that I studied was the concept of if you're driven by money or fame, if someone else gets there before you, instead of improving upon it, you lose your motivation completely and you fall off the cliff.
That happens a lot. A lot of people, and I say that too. Like, I don't compare myself to Mastermind. Mastermind's the big dog. Obviously, I want to get to where Mastermind is at, but I will never compare myself to any other content creator besides myself. Like, I'm battling myself. Become a better content creator every day for yourself. Do not, if you look at somebody that's above you, it's just like the internet when you look at celebrities online and you look at all the things they post online. They post the glamorous stuff, and it's like, I ain't got that. So you get unmotivated and you want to chase it, and it's not it. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of celebrities that's miserable, but they have the fame, but you never want to sit there and try to compare yourself to anybody else, man. Because if you do, especially someone like, how are you going to compare somebody with a low sub count to somebody with a high sub? How do you compare yourself to them? You can't compare your viewership to them. You can't. The best thing you can do if you want to compare yourself to them is how much average viewers they're getting versus how many subscribers they have. And do that for yourself. Like, let's say I upload a video and I have 43,000 and I only get 10,000 views on that video. Well, that's what, less than 25%, a little bit under 25% of people watching my video, but you have 1,000 subscribers, right? And your video drops, you get 500. Well, you have 50% of your subscribers watching your video. Like, compare yourself against yourself. You always want to do that as far as viewership.
Yeah, I think one of the concepts in marketing is the engagement that is with the people that you already have. If you're unable to retain the people that are your subscribers and the people who are supporting you from the ground up, if you're not taking care of them, how do you expect to bring in new people and add to that flow? So maintenance is very important, so to say.
And
yeah.
I was about to say, and this is something a lot of people do on Twitch and more so versus YouTube, is because on Twitch, you to get what is it? It isn't partnered, it's like affiliate. To get affiliate, you got to hold a certain amount of viewers, and it's like, don't worry about how many viewers, because it's easy to get a follow on Twitch. It's easy to say, hey man, follow me on Twitch. The purpose of you streaming is to get somebody to come back. It's easy to get a follow from them. it's harder for you to consistently make them come back and keep watching. So instead of worrying about, oh, I got to hit this number, let's worry about one, the people that's there right now, and two, trying to get that person or those people to come back again.
I completely agree with that because, again, there have been cases upon cases of people dropping off a cliff all of a sudden with their numbers, with their consistency, just because something didn't work out. So you need to have that grit, you need to have that determination, and more importantly, very concrete and strong goals when it comes to being competitive with yourself among besides anyone else. So yeah, I think it had to be spelled out, and I really appreciate you doing that. Speaking of you speaking out on subjects, you're someone that I've known, especially when it comes to your Twitter or the way you engage. You don't mince your words. You say whatever you feel like saying. And, you know, sometimes that rubs people the wrong way. Sometimes it gets a reaction out of them. So, you know, I recently saw something between you and KeneticNRG, and so a lot of things happen, but how do you go about handling these situations? I mean, just getting some perspective from you.
All right. So usually, I'm not gonna lie, like this isn't that wasn't the first time that me and Kinetic has went back and forth on Twitter or anything. But basically, like I feel like, and I'm not gonna hold my words, I feel like Kinetic, every time there's an engagement as far as somebody talking about YouTube or anything, he always brings negative energy to it. Like it's always a negative energy when it comes to him on YouTube, on Twitter. And if I'm wrong, you guys can go look at his tweets. I can't. Like, I got to the point where I had somebody DM me and like, bro, you got to understand, like, people are just going to be like that. Just block him and move on. And I was like, I held this badge of honor. Like, I don't want people to walk around with, they'll screenshot it. Haha, he blocked me. And I have to erase that from my memory. Shouts out to King Juice, because he's one tip me like, just block these people. And I've blocked multiple people, including KeneticNRG. I ain't got no hate for him. It's just, I don't want that negativity on my Twitter or in my life. You know what I'm saying? So with that whole situation, man, like you got people looking up, they're inspired by me. They go to Twitter, you know what I'm saying? And to get their dreams, like people get their dreams crushed quick, especially by somebody that's being negative, and someone like Kinetic's telling him, oh, it's like, bro, if you crush him now, he'll never have a chance. Let him have a chance. If he fails, let him walk off the cliff and fail instead of it like throwing him off. You know what I mean? And it's just, I don't know, but it's just the way Kinetic went about it as far as that. I just had to, you know what I'm saying, just block him and just move on with my life, and he could do his own thing. But again, like I said, ain't no hate towards him. It's just, I don't want that negativity on my Twitter, bro.
I think you had something very similar with Rayhan earlier in the year, because I think it was right after we interviewed him at GameKheyl. I think there was something with regards to the style of play that he has, or I'm not sure exactly, but something went down.
Yeah, as far as I don't really remember how it went down, but I can speak on Rayhan specifically. It's more so like I don't have a problem. Like you got to blame the game at the end of the day, but you also have to hold the players that play the game accountable as well. Yet, like, do you actually think, like, if you know you're exploiting a video game, are you actually thinking that you're good? Like, I feel like you're blind. If you think because you're exploiting a video game, you're actually good at it. Like, hello? And then on top of that, I look at the game is supposed to be played like a sim. I'm not asking you guys to throw 30 strikes around, 40 strikes around. I'm asking the game to be played more so sim-based. But if you're abusing very, very strong things within the game that obviously needs tweaking, I don't look at you as being a good player. I look at you as being an exploiter. And it's just how it is. And I also spoke on this in my stream the other day. I was talking about Fight Night Champion with the Fight Night community. These guys, they know, like, when you play meta, they put you in this category, right? But when you play meta on UFC, it's like they don't put you in this category versus a sim player. No, don't get me wrong. Everybody doesn't do that. Some people won't do that. But Fight Night Champion, they respect the man that's playing sim, and the guy that's playing Isaac Frost, you know what I'm saying? Playing real cheesy, Sugar Ray Robinson, those type of guys, they don't get much respect. Now, obviously, within the scene, again, there are players that respect him and there are players that don't respect Rayhan. But the thing is with Rayhan, he's actually good at the game. Like, Rayhan isn't bad. Rayhan's just an extreme exploiter of the game. And also, like I said, it's up to EA to fix that. It's not, but it's also up to Rayhan not to completely play like that. And honestly, it hurts Rayhan. And I would want to see someone his your age, like with all due respect, be successful. But when you play like that and it gets toxic, you only get toxicity out of it. Like, think about the amount of hate that Rayhan gets. And obviously, he doesn't care. He looks at it as white noise. But Rayhan's going to get hate no matter what until he changes up his style. He doesn't have to completely play like a sim player, none of that. It's just when every fight you go in there to exploit, you know, it's I don't know. Me personally, I don't enjoy it, but some people, I mean, he gets viewership. Some people enjoy it, but you also got to look at the aspect of what happens when a game changes, when you play a different game, another combat sports game. If Rayhan plays ESBC, how successful is he going to be in eSports boxing club with not having as many mechanics to abuse? Like, we don't know, obviously, because ESBC isn't out, but from what we've seen with Steel City Interactive, they're going to be looking to nerf things real quick. They're going to try to real quick. If something doesn't make sense, they're going to try to kill it real quick. And that's from what we've been seeing with as far as how they've been going about updates and interacting with the community with games and really listening to criticism versus EA. There's a lot of stuff that we've honestly have complained about, but a lot of stuff have not been answered. And yeah, I just hope to see Rayhan succeed, man. I don't like I said, I don't have any hate for anybody within the community. You can whoop me, you can play me cheesy. I'm gonna hate your style, but I will never dislike you or hate you personally. It'll never get personal. It'll just, I hate the way you play the game.
And I think this is one thing that a lot of gamers need to realize, and people who put on content, that at the end of the day, this is just a few pixels moving on the screen. There is nothing personal about it. You're not, if someone defeats you, again, it's not really going to change anything in your personal life. Perhaps a few jokes here and there, but again, that has nothing to do with the person that you are or anything. So it's very important to understand that none of this, in fact, any of this, comes to a point where it's worthy of being, it's worthy of making you toxic, or at least makes you have that kind of appearance, because a lot of people struggle with that. Perhaps some people think that they are, you know, they have a cloud around them that constantly convinces them that this is the way to go. This is what's going to bring in the eyeballs. And after a while, you recognize that after a certain point, it just gets annoying, and no one really wants to be around.
Yes.
That. Like
yes.
you can have this working out for you perhaps for a year, maybe two, but what do you do after that? And like you mentioned, with ESBC coming out with a lot of list mechanics to exploit, you really have to, you know, come up with a way to put yourself together and, you know, reinvent yourself. And that's going to take a lot more effort than just being nice. So just try to, you know, just be nice. I think that's the key word.
And I mean, I've been at that age, bro. I've been at Rayhan age where I sat at people's stream trying to stream snipe them, playing Gears of War. They do lobbies where they do private lobbies, and I be trying my heart out. You know what I'm saying? Just being a troll in chat. I've been there. So I understand where Rayhan is coming from, especially with his age. Like I said, I'm 27 now. So, you know what I'm saying? I've been 17, I've been 16 doing that type of stuff. So I understand, but also I'm trying to be like the granddaddy of the community. And listen, man, I'm trying to tell you how to be successful within this type of stuff, because being toxic only gets you so far. Now, when you build off of toxicity, you're going to continuously have a toxic fan base. You know what I mean? Or I don't really like the word fan base, but you get what I'm saying? You're going to have a toxic base around you. And I don't know if you're comfortable with that, that's fine. But I just feel like showing love and just being positive, bro, in life or in anything you do always kills being toxic. Always.
And it really hurts you because sometimes you're not necessarily a person who exhibits that behavior in real life. So you're just putting on a show. And after a while, people are just going to figure that out. And sometimes something mean coming towards you may affect you in person, maybe affect your mental health. So people have to realize that the more organic something comes, it actually has more mileage, at least when it comes to viewership, when it comes to you as a person. And I think being original is something that people would rather be and enjoy more than trying to put on a mask and be someone else. So I think that's actually a very big takeaway that I can take from what you just mentioned. And on the subject of like you just said, ESBC, I believe that's the that's the savior for a lot of combat esports players out there. I mean, for everyone else, we've been waiting for this for a good boxing simulator for a while. We had a Fight Night Champions a whole decade ago, and now there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of hope. A bit of skepticism when it comes to the release date and the delays that are coming in. But the names that they're coming up with on weekly basis, it's gotten everyone excited. It's everyone on their feet. Just a little bit about your expectations when it comes to that game, and a little bit about something that you're still a little wary of.
Honestly, my expectations of the game, I try to keep them low, because at the end of the day, this is an indie company that they've had investors invest in them. And also, I don't know if it's true. It ain't true. I don't want to say it ain't true, because you never know. But I know JMMA put on his Twitter that Floyd is someone commented on his YouTube video that Floyd was the investor of ESBC, and that's like why his dad is on it, and it was some other Mayweather that's on it. They just got added on it. Yeah, but I mean, who knows? I mean, at the end of the day, that's just a rumor. It's just skeptical, but that's pretty crazy. If Floyd Mayweather is an investor, this game, my expectations would probably go a bit higher, because the amount of money that Floyd could invest into the game. But honestly, I have hope. Like I honestly have hope within Steel City Interactive, because how they have gone about communicating with the community and taking criticism. Like, and I'm not going to bash EA, but I'm just going to have to compare and contrast. When it comes to EA taking criticism versus eSports Boxing Club taking criticism, or Steel City, they take it and they face it, and they'll throw it back at us and say, okay, here, we've showed you, we know, we see your concerns. Versus EA, it kind of goes white noise, you know what I'm saying, within the stuff. And maybe it doesn't go white noise, but from the reflection of things that are being in the patches and stuff like that, especially a community, the things that the community wants. I know it's like community something within the patches that we want. A lot of those things the community doesn't necessarily want, or that's not one of the major issues that the community wants. And Esports Boxing Club, you know what I'm saying? I know with the punching animations everyone's been complaining about, they addressed it. They said, hey, we're working on it. We're going to try to, you know what I'm saying? We are aware of the issue. And there's this compared to UFC 4. Every punch animation isn't great in that game. I think the overhand animation is extremely exaggerated. The rear hook to the body is a very wonky animation. The lead hook is good, but a lot of animations need fixing. The question mark kick animation is terrible. It's a lot of animations that are bad, but it's just that we have accepted it. We have accepted that it's bad, and we moved on from there. Just like if Esports Boxing Club drops bad punching animations, guess what? It's a boxing simulation game. We're going to adjust, adapt to it, and we're just going to accept it. But I also feel like a lot of people are holding ESBC at this as such a high standard when like, why are you holding them at such a high standard when you're coming from a UFC 4 or UFC 3? You know what I mean? Like, you're expecting everything to be perfect, and it's not going to be like that. Obviously, there are going to be flaws within ESBC, but I have hope because they are interacting with their community. They're taking criticism. That's one of the biggest things that you can do, is a consumer talking to the customer.
Yeah,
well, and I think that's the same thing. Consumer and customer. I think that's the same thing. Yeah.
But I think what essentially you were saying, and I'm pretty sure everyone got that right. A lot of feedback is important, and especially listening to the community and getting things sorted. I think UFC was actually doing a better job when it comes to UFC 3, because when the game came out, it required a lot of fixes, it required a lot of patches, but at the end of the day, we got somewhere near what we were expecting. And that tends to happen when the community is being heard. Instead of having a new character like Action Bronson or something else, you're actually focused on delivering on what's expected of you. And I think that's where perhaps UFC dropped the ball. And ESBC right now, I think people are putting it on a higher echelon for that very reason, because there has been a lot of engagement, there has been a dialogue. And for every video that comes out, even though there is no reveal date, but people have something to look forward to. And the issues that they have are getting addressed. So there's a lot of hope. And if there's anyone from ESBC watching this, again, best of wishes for you. And we cannot wait for that game to come out. So Yeah. And so Pryoxis, we've come towards the final part of this interview. And just to have a few things in mind, because in fact, I have a confession before I even get to that. I remember you pulling out one of the biggest tournaments that ever came up organically when it comes to the community, that $500 tournament. That was something else. I mean, I started watching it when I think you were putting up your own money, and then someone came and mashed, and then the community just started pooling in. I think that was one of the best. That's actually a depiction of what this community can do for one another if it really comes together. So, from your experience as a host, as as the person organizing it, what was that like?
Fun, but it can be stressful. It can be stressful, especially being a host. And like, I'm a novice to this. I don't have, you know what I'm saying? Like ESFL, they have people in the back doing production. It's just me. I'm switching the screens. I'm commentating. I'm doing everything. So if I'm doing that, right, and I'd be like, yo, your fight's up next, you know, get your stream started. And I do that, and your stream's not started. You're not in the lobby with each other. It can get frustrating. It gets time consuming. And then people be like, bro, this, like, you got, when you're doing something like tournaments and stuff, you have a short intermission and you move on to the next fight. It shouldn't be 5-10 minutes until the next fight. A lot of people, they'll leave. You know what I'm saying? And I can't be mad at that, because that's something that I would do. This is ran poorly. So when it comes to actually keeping people in there and making it run smoothly is one of the most stressful things. And that's, anybody that has hosted a tournament of any sort can agree there. But it's fun. It's fun. And that the tournament you're talking about exactly was that CAF tournament.
Yeah.
Because it started off with me putting, I don't know how much amount in it, but then Marshall Mine was the person that put the extra 100 in it. And then more and more people just started investing into it, and it just blew up and went crazy. And here's the thing. It was a CAF tournament. It wasn't even like a competitive, you know what I'm saying, top fighters tournament. It was a CAF, but it was exciting. Why? Because one, CAFs are different. You know what I'm saying? It brings a different style, a different element versus seeing the same fighters. And then two, the money. Obviously, the money gonna motivate people. You know what I mean? So that was the fun part, just hosting it and getting crazy viewership, getting crazy love. But the stressful part is hosting it, bro. It is hosting it. It can be very stressful.
Yeah, I've been involved with a few leagues online, and I can tell you the things that go in the behind the scenes and all the stress that comes with if you have to put up fights on the fly. Sometimes people don't show up. There's a lot of things that are happening. Perhaps if there's no content for a couple of minutes, the viewership falls down. That puts a lot of stress as well. So there's a lot of a lot of pressure that comes with, especially when it comes to live broadcasting. And mad props to everyone who's doing that. We have got Cage, we have ESFL, we've got Prime Time. So all of the guys who are running this, we may have our differences when it comes to the way they're approaching the league, but for everyone doing this, it requires a lot of effort, and that does not go unnoticed.
That's a fact.
Agreed. And so the confession got stayed back. I actually ended up no showing one of your tournaments, and I'm banned from your server. That unfortunately, yeah, that actually happened because my time zone and yours do not match. I think that was around 3 or 4 in the morning, and so that happened. So I think I actually, sorry.
I got you. I just got another server, so. I hit you up. You can join, but you should have DM'd me, bro. I would have unbanned you. I ain't like, I don't hold like, bro, I unban people a lot. Like, sometimes I'll go on my YouTube thing and I'll just unban everybody. Like, I don't be like, oh, you're banned, you're never coming back. And be like, yo, bro, listen, I know show, but that was the past. Like, bro, unban me. Like, I'm gonna unban you. Chances are, like, I unbanned Rayhan. You know what I mean? I unbanned a lot. It's multiple people. I won't say their name personally, but it's some people and they know who they are that have been unbanned, and they know how toxic they've been within my community. I let it slide. So yeah, man, it's no showing. I won't ban you for that.
All right, I'm going to see you there then. All right, so just coming towards one of the final questions. So like you mentioned, you're one of the fortunate ones who are now getting to do this full time. Even just from a vicarious experience, it has to sound good. It has to feel good for everyone. So for you, when you realized you were at a point where you can pursue this as a career, what was that like? Hello? You're stuck.
Can you hear me?
Now I can. Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me? All right, good. So basically, it wasn't this a point where I feel like, okay, I'm comfortable, because I was scared. It was more so a leap of faith to do it, because I was making enough to basically pay my bills, but like still, you know, you want to have like backup money, like, you know what I mean? On top of that, I got 2 kids, so you got to think about that too.
Of course.
But it was to the point where I worked at my job 5 years, bro. And my hands, like, I got a video on this. My hands were hurting, and my wrist was hurting. Like, it was to the point where when I first started my job, I couldn't even open my milk. Like, I literally, you know how you twist milk? I couldn't even do that because my hands hurted so bad. And I kept working and I got used to it, and my hands got used to it. But as I continue working, you know, your hands get broken down, your body get broken down. And it was like the job, it was mentally, it's mental. Like, people don't think about the mental that going into that job and that place being miserable. The only thing that kept me running there was basically the people around me. We had a good time. But even then, it got to a point where a lot of those people quit. And it just changed the whole environment as far as, what's the word? Management, terrible. So it was like terrible on terrible. And I just got to a point where I can't do this. On top of that, I switched shifts. I was working second shift. Then I had to go to first shift. Well, actually, I selected to go to first shift because it was either go first shift or work third shift. And I'm not working that graveyard shift. And it just, I wasn't feeling it. So I just said, you know what? Because I was scared. I talked to multiple people, so many people. And I have friends that are like entrepreneurs in real life. You know what I'm saying? And they were like, bro, it's just, you got to make the leap. It's scary, but you got to make the leap. And I just walked in my job. Like, I didn't tell nobody. I walked in my job and I was like, yeah, this is going to be my last day. And I just, you know what I'm saying, said my goodbyes to everybody, handed my badge over and just walked out. And that was the leap of faith, and scared, bro. Like, I can't even explain how scary it is to do something like that. You know what I'm saying? Especially with all the responsibilities I have on myself, to actually do that takes some courage, man. And then I look back and I'm like, bro, when you do it and you become successful, and you're like, bro, you know, you got this. Once you continue to do it, it's like, why didn't I do this a long time ago?
That's true.
Like, why did I wait so long to invest into myself? And I'm not talking about money. I'm just talking about time. Invest more time into myself, because I was working 8 hours a day, then 10 hours a day. Just like, all that time I could have been investing into myself. And that's not just straight up streaming. That's thinking about video ideas, responding to people online. You know what I'm saying? What's the word? Collaborating with people with videos, and just overall just interacting more, and also thinking about videos, thinking about video ideas, thinking about stream ideas. All that time spent in the warehouse.
Yeah, I mean, that has to be an eye opener for a lot of people watching this, because even with GameKheyl, this was an idea that I wanted to get myself involved in many years ago. And I would give myself a reason or two not to pursue it.
Yes.
And,
yes.
you know, there was a time when I was like, okay, I have to save up for my marriage. I have to pay the bills, this and that. But, you know, if you want to do something, the best time is the moment you realize you can actually do something. And
yes,
I think one of the better decisions when it comes to, in fact, I know we're at a very infant stage when it comes to GameKheyl, but there's a lot of gratitude. There's a lot of inner satisfaction when it comes to doing something that you want to do, and when you really have like an internal motivation towards. And the results don't matter as much as the fact that there's a lot of pride that you can take in bringing something to fruition and creating it with your own hands. So yes. I think that there's a lot of beauty to it. And like an employment or anything else, it's not that you're building someone else's dream. This is yours entirely. So again, I really appreciate the fact that you shared something very touching with all of us. And I think this is going to resonate with a lot of people. So now finally, again, coming towards the end of this interview, Pryoxis, it was an absolute pleasure having you here. I mean, the kind of stuff that you shared, I'm sure, including myself, and I think I'm speaking on behalf of everyone who's watching this. A lot of things that you've shared have resonated with us. There's a lot of eye-opening stuff here as well. So hope the message does resonate with even more people, for people who are aspiring towards being content creators, being professional gamers. I mean, the opportunity is out there. 2022, 23, you're going to have a significant boom in gaming. The connectivity is going to go through the roof. 5G is going to be everywhere. It's time for gamers to explode. So if you want an entry in, now is a good time. But again, like everything that's been discussed, be humble, be nice, engage with the community, be consistent. I think that's a message that everyone knows, but it has to be reiterated over and over. So we were really fortunate to have you over here today. Any final thoughts, if you may have any?
Yeah, one last thing, quick motivation for y'all, man. I'm giving you a quick breakdown, not more so a super breakdown of my life, but I came from nothing. Like I came from being homeless. I had a mom with 3 kids. Dad's wasn't there. I came from nothing. No Christmases, birthday parties, nothing. I come from real bad times, bro. To be where I'm at now, it's like day and night. And it's like crazy to think about it. And I say it quite a lot because like I think about it a lot from where I came from. And it's like always have a vision, bro. And a lot of people within the UFC community, you've seen me. Like you've literally watched me go from here to here. Like there's no telling where I'm going to go in the future as far as like number count, viewer count. You know what I'm saying, or success in life, bro. And just remember, Pryoxis was sitting there in front of his screen whispering. Pryoxis was at 400 subscribers. Everybody starts at 0. Pryoxis was there, you know what I'm saying? And you watched him go from here to there. So let that be motivation that you can do it too. I know a lot of people hear celebrities say, oh, I'll just chase your dreams. Well, literally, you watch Pryoxis chase his dreams and became successful. So if I can do it, someone else can do it. Obviously, there's going to be different things to do with like you want to find your niche, like what you're good at or what you're entertaining at, but don't feel like you have to be trapped. Okay, I'm not entertaining, I can't do that. Well, you got to try to be entertained. You got to try to do some things to be entertained, even if it's as far as being cringy. I mean, Henry Cejudo became entertaining because of him being cringy. Henry Cejudo is one of my favorite fighters just because he's cringy, but also he's good at what he does. And again, just to go back on my life, bro, like I'm telling y'all, man, I came from nothing, bro. So to come from nothing to have like state-of-the-art type of equipment now is crazy. Like I prayed to get a PlayStation for Christmas. You know what I mean? And didn't get no PlayStation though. I got PlayStation one time, and that was because I went to it was like a Christmas because my dad has not been in my life really at all. But for that one Christmas, I went over to my dad's house and they actually got me a PlayStation. But other than that, I didn't really have a Christmas. I didn't have a birthday. My mom did the best she could and I understood and I respected that. Like at the end of the day, what matters, like I wanted those toys. Don't get me wrong. I wanted those toys. I went to school, same outfits a day, you know what I mean? Same shoes. But I know my mom tried her best at the end of the day, bro. So always be humble because being humble can get you a lot of places. Just understanding your situation and where you came from and where you're at and where you can be. Just I don't want to be like, just keep grinding, but no matter what you do, at least one time a day, try to do something that in your life, something that you love. If you love painting, try to do something that regards making painting your occupation essentially, or your hobby, and you make a revenue from it. Try to do something like that every day because it's just like streaming. I streamed every day. You know what I'm saying? I used to stream. I said this more. I streamed more than I sleep. I'd come home from work, stream, stay up, take my daughter to school, stay up with the other daughter, get about 3 hours of sleep, go back to work, do it all again. So it's all a matter of how much you're willing to put in and how much you're willing to lose with anything in life as far as grinding, bro.
Yeah, I think, by the way, speaking of the things that you've mentioned, even in our previous interviews with the Tekken community, especially the community in Pakistan, we have to give our salutes to all the hardworking mothers that are out there who have made sure that their gamer kids have had the right support, even with limited means, even with all the social pressures that come with. I think there has to be, at the very least, a verbal tribute to them for all the things that they've done for us. Yeah. And so again, I think it was an absolute pleasure to have you here. There's a lot of great things that have come out of this. again, for us here at GameKheyl, we're not a big channel right now, but we have great dreams. We have a lot of aspirations. We are going to continue grinding till we get there.
Yeah,
There,
exactly.
there are a lot of plans that we have in place. For everyone watching, we will have some eSports events in the future, with all things considered, with our setup. We finally got in ourselves on a really nice camera. There have been some bright lights around us as well. So we are making incremental changes over time. So that's going to take a little bit of an effort, but we are all in for it. At the same time, all we can hope from on your end is, again, your undivided attention at times. If you don't like the content, that's perfectly okay. If you like this content, we keep on putting up interviews like this with content creators like Pryoxis, like other streamers that we've had from Pakistan and also from different communities. So we will continue on doing that. We are going to give platform to anyone who deserves it, people who want recognition, want to put their name out there. So if you feel there's anyone who deserves that, bring them over to us. We are going to give them some real royal treatment if possible. Again, and for us, the most royal would be all of you watching this. Again, this has been a relatively long interview, but we've enjoyed every moment of it. I hope you guys have as well. And again, with any other guests that we're going to have in the future, we are going to be here and putting on more content for all of you. And with all that said, again, this is your host Naveed signing out, and hope to see you guys real soon. Peace.
Sir.
And we are done.